can't preach like this. I need fire. I need fire. I can't stay married like this. I need some fire. I need fire. Fire. Is there anybody in
Sometimes y'all feel like y'all don't know why we do what we do. It's real. Ow!
Hey, welcome to Fire Unfiltered, where you're being touched by the fire and power of God. You found it right here on Fire Unfiltered with your host, Latangela Rogers, who delivers empowering messages that purifies our hearts, shapes our character, and awakens our spirits. And now, here's Latangela.
It's a great day here on Fire Unfiltered. I want to welcome you to my podcast, the place that ignites transformation and restoration in your life through 30 minutes of Saturday morning empowerment. I am your host, Latangela Rogers, and this show is being brought to you today by Rose of Jericho Community Development, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to transforming the lives of people through community outreach, community reform, and development. For more information, please visit www.roseofjericho-cd.org. Again, www.roseofjericho-cd.org. It is an honor and certainly a privilege to be of service to you today. With all that is going on in today's world, we're dealing with the pandemic still. Even though we are opening back up, things are still shaky. Some people have not come out of their homes for more than a year. This is serious. We are in a time where, while we are coming out of our homes from being in a year of isolation, some of us have been on the road and on the go. Nothing never really changed for us. We still were traveling due to work, or even if it was due to personal, you just refused to be inside your home, and that's okay. But there were many that were scared to come out of their homes during the pandemic. And now the world is opening back up. Things are trying to go back to normal, but will it ever be normal again? I always say, I think we're preparing for something else greater, because we don't know exactly what happened in many homes during the time of the pandemic. Mental illness, I believe, is we're going to see it at an all-time high, because we are humans. We thrive on touch, smell. We thrive on our 8 senses. And if we don't utilize them, or haven't been able to utilize them, then of course there is some breakdown, especially in the mental. So it is an honor to be able to launch this podcast and to be able to give you 30 minutes of empowerment, to uplift your soul, to uplift your spirit, to bring you into a place to let you know that things may not be easy, but they will be okay. And that is going to take us into today's podcast, because I was driving and I was wondering exactly what it was that I was actually going to get today's podcast on. And amazingly enough, I was able to hear from the depths of within, don't give up on your dreams. That's today's title of this podcast. Don't give up on your dreams. Many of us, like I said, we've been in isolation. Now we don't know what to do. You're facing financial crisis, or whatever you might be dealing with, or you're not facing anything you feel at all, but you don't feel like your dream is able or capable of being moved forward. So this 30 minutes of empowerment, I want to speak to you regarding Joseph. If we find in Joseph, Genesis chapter 37 and beyond, we see Joseph was a dreamer. He was called to something great. And the way that he knew that he was called to something great, he dreamed. How many of you are dreamers? How many of you, the inner voice comes out through your dreams? Some of us, your inner voice, the inner voice down inside speaks to you. It might be audible to you. You might see it in visions. You might be out in the open and something might trigger you to have an open vision, or something that you come across. Somebody might speak something into your life. However way you receive your dreams, they come. But this particular man, he dreamt. When he slept, he dreamt. and he was so excited about his dreams. And this story is very interesting. And it has many different layers and nuggets built inside of it. And if you take your time and if you go through it and you comb through it line by line, you will see something in it that you can relate to. I know for myself, I've seen a lot of things in it that I can relate to because I refuse to let my dream die. But there are things and situation and people that come to be a distraction, to knock you off course, to cause you to not want you to get you to where you are going. And in this time, we see that during the pandemic, there has been obstacles that come before us, people, places, and things that would keep us from advancing forward and what it is that we are predestined for, what we have been brought here upon this earth. Everyone has a purpose. Did you hear me? I said everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. If you didn't have a purpose, there would be no need for you to be here on this earth. So you have a purpose. And like I told you, mental health is a thing right now. It's at an all-time high. We have people that feel like they have no purpose and no being to be here on this earth. And that's not so. It's not so. You might be having thoughts of suicide. I'm here to tell you, you have a purpose. And I don't want you to give up on that purpose. And neither does the Father want you to give up on your higher calling, what you were called to. And what you go through is the setup for you to get exactly what it is that you need to get on this time, for you to arrive exactly where you're supposed to arrive to in a place of time where you reign. Remember, you're the head and you're not the tail. You're the lender and you're not the borrower. Just because you're going through something right now doesn't mean that you're not called and predestined for something great. What we go through comes to make us stronger. Did you hear me? It strengthens us and it prepares us for exactly where it is that we are supposed to be. Exactly the person who we are supposed to come. And we see this in Joseph. We see it. If you read the story of Joseph, you see that he was being prepared. Joseph had two dreams in chapter 37, two dreams. And Joseph was so excited about the dreams that he had. And maybe he didn't really have a full understanding of the dreams that he had. That could be perceived too, that he went and he shared it with his brothers. Now, his brothers already had a problem with him. They had an issue with him because Joseph was favored by his father. And it says that, and it speaks that in the scripture, that he was favored by his father. And so much so that his father gave him a coat of many colors, a coat of many colors. Some of it, in some translation, it says a cloak, like, you know, the royal cloaks that we see priests, kings and queens having. You might see even the priest, a high priest with a cloak. It represents royalty. It represents power. It represents authority. It represents all of these things. So he was given a cloak or a coat of many colors by his father. That alone right there was significant. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it was significant because he was actually already being fitted for the position to rule and by his father. So he was chosen already, and his siblings despised that. His brothers wanted him out of the picture, and they would do anything to remove Joseph so that his father wouldn't give him the favorable attention that he was giving, that they felt like they didn't get. You see, when people don't know their place, they become jealous and envious of you. But when you're comfortable and you're secure in who you are, there's no need to be jealous or envious of anyone else. Remember, I said we all have a purpose, and some people are predestined to go higher than the other. That doesn't make anyone less than. We have to know that. We have to know that some people are given specific platforms to bring specific change into our world systems. Not everyone can bring that. Not everyone has those type of strengths. So it's just our portion. But we are all needed because we are one body. We can't make it without one another. Joseph couldn't get to where he is without the push and the backing of people surrounding him, or even the harm that they tried to get to do to him. He couldn't make it to where he needed to be if he didn't have those obstacles and those challenges. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that you won't make it to where you are if you don't have obstacles and challenges. What you dream about is the precursor to what it is, to the place that God is wanting you to go. And so he gives you those dreams, but he doesn't tell you exactly what it is that you're going to have to walk through before you arrive to the destination that you dreamt about. And so I don't want you to give up on your dreams just because you're going through something right now. That is your preparation. He's preparing you. And so my title is a little bit deceiving in the fact that you are being prepared. So this is about preparation. We have all been in preparation over this last year. We have encountered some different things that we would never even thought or imagined that we could encounter. We have experienced death surrounding us, people dying from the COVID or COVID related or COVID relations and other life-threatening illnesses. People are just dying from a combination of things. And so we're seeing it day in and day out. So I wanted you to know that while people plan against you, what happened with Joseph's brothers, that they became so envious that they decided to plot to kill him, but they needed to get him away from the home. So they went into another town. And then Joseph wanted to know, where was my brother? So he asked, and then he was instructed where his brothers was, and Joseph decided to follow. All Joseph wanted to do was belong, but he didn't fit in because really he had a calling upon his life. So he followed that road where his brothers traveled, and then they plotted, they had him caught, and then they decided, one of the brothers said, oh, we shouldn't kill him. They had something else greater. We'll sell him off, because if we kill him, he's of no good to us. But if we sell him, we get a profit from him. So they sold him for a little bit of nothing into slavery. So he went into slavery in Egypt. And when he arrived into slavery, he was bought by Potiphar. And Potiphar brought Joseph into his home. And Potiphar's wife, she was a trip, y'all. So now Joseph is away from the brothers, and then he goes into Potiphar's house. And then when he gets into Potiphar's house, now he's being tempted by Potiphar's wife. Now, hey, come on. So now you have some people trying to kill him, then you're sold into captivity. And then when you get into captivity, someone has a extreme amount of lust and wanted to be with you sexually, and then use you as their sex slave, probably so much so, I would say, and to manipulate. All Joseph knew, he had to get out of the Potiphar's house. He knew he had to get away from the Potiphar's house. So he ran away, and that's when he lost his cloak, because he had to get out of there. And so that was proof of whatever she was trying to prove. But guess what? All of what Joseph went through was preparation to strengthen him, to place him in the palace. Did you hear? So where people thought they were pushing you away from where you're supposed to go, no, they're not pushing you away. They're pushing you into what it is that you're called to be. What is you were predestined to reign. So your pain and your suffering is not in vain. It's not in vain. Your pain and your suffering. Did you hear me? I told you it's not in vain. Your pain and your suffering is for a purpose. It's preparation for you to get to where you have to go. It's the vehicle that transport you to your elevation. I say it is your vehicle to transport you to your elevation. And so when we see these things coming to us and we see people reacting towards us, it's not the person, it's the spirit that drives the person. But that spirit is actually catapulting you into your predestined place. It was predestined for you from before the foundation of the earth, for you to reign on high. Just like it was predestined for Joseph, it's predestined for you. So don't look at this time as a time of troubles that's going to last always. Trouble doesn't last always. It's the weeping shall endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That means that there is a time for everything. There's a season for everything. And every time you enter into a season where you feel like you've experienced a lot of pain and suffering and loss and grief, joy comes in the morning. That means something great is on the horizon. So you need to put on your praise shoes and praise your way through your situation, because Weeping shall endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. That means that it's going to end. Your dark season will end, and the sun will shine upon your life. And when the sun shines upon your life, guess what? It's springtime. Everything blooms. Everything that was harvested in the dark is now coming forward in the light. And you're going to reap great benefits. You're going to wear your crown. And so this is what I wanted to share with you all on today, because this is a great day for us to all celebrate what it is that God has put forward before us. So I want to play a song for you by Daryl Coley, and it's entitled "He Is Preparing Me." So I want you to listen to a few minutes of it, and then I'll come back and I'll do the closing. Again, I'm your host, Latangela Rogers, and you're listening live to Fire Unfiltered.
He's preparing me for something I cannot handle right now. He's making me ready just because he cares. He cares. To carry out the next matter in my life, God is preparing just because he cares. Oh, he's preparing me for everything in my He's preparing me for something that I cannot handle right now, right now. He's making me ready, just because he cares. He cares. In me with what I'm
He's preparing me. He's preparing us for what's to come in our lives. He's preparing us. And this is what we have to realize, that God doesn't make any mistakes. He's preparing us. So the things that we are going through is preparing us for the place that he has already prepared for us. But there are things that come to teach us and to train us to so that we know how to handle the greater when it's time. So if we don't go through anything, we cannot sit in the place or reign in the place that he has predestined for us, because we won't know how to handle it. The song explains exactly what Joseph was going through. You see, he prematurely gave out his dreams. The dream was for him, but that showed his immaturity as in the beginning. That showed where he made the mistakes, because he went and he told his dreams too prematurely. And so it brought a lot of backlash against him, because even the father was saying, me, your father, bow to you? No. But then the father has to go and think about things. Why would he have these dreams? But the brothers, there was no thinking to it. There was no thinking to it. They were wanting him out of the picture, because they said, us, the older brothers, bow to our younger brother? No way. So they already had a problem with him because he was favored of his father. Then now you're having a dream that we're going to have to bow to you, that you're going to rule over us. We are older than you. That is not the case. So that anytime we prematurely share our dreams, we find people that intentionally set out to destroy the pathway that God has called for us. But it always works out for the good. And then remember, he was sold away. He was sold away. How many of us were sold away? How much of our ancestors were sold away because they were set to held king and queen position? But out of greed, envy, jealousy, power stricken, whatever it is, we were sold off. And we see it times and times again. But guess what? We are being prepared for something greater. So you can't give up on the dream that you have had, or dreams, plural. Because some of us it's a constant reminder, these dreams come over and over and over. It's for you to continue to keep going forward. Continue, he's letting you know, to remind you that your dreams matter. They are real. They will come to pass. They will be fully manifested. But for such an appointed time, when you have matured to the place that you can handle the place in which you will sit. Joseph was being prepared to rule, to be a ruler of many. And so you see, if we go into chapter 39 of Genesis, and then we drop down to verse 19. And when we drop down to verse 19, we see where Joseph was put into prison. And it says, because remember, I told you Potiphar's wife had accused Joseph of trying to sleep with her. And so after hearing his story, Potiphar was furious. After hearing his wife's story, Potiphar became furious at Joseph. He took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held. He took him and set him in a royal place. And out of his anger, he was angry, but he helped to position Joseph. You see, people that get angry with you and they do things to you, they just set you into a place where you're being set up for what you were truly being created for. So they think that they're being malice and malicious against you, and you have this feeling that, why is this happening to me? But you're being positioned for where it is that God is taking you. So listen, he says, but the Lord was with Joseph there in the prison. The Lord was with Joseph. And he said, he granted Joseph favor with the chief jailer. Before long, the jailer put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The chief jailer had no more worries after that because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him, making everything run smoothly and successful. And then guess what? Something happened later where Pharaoh, it says sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief breaker offended him. Pharaoh became very angry with the officials and he put them in prison where Joseph was, in this palace of Potiphar, the captain of the guard. They remained in prison for quite some time, and Potiphar assigned Joseph to take care of them. One night, the cupbearer and the breaker each had a dream, and each dream had its own meaning. The next morning, Joseph noticed the dejected and look on their faces. Why do you look so worried today? He asked, and they replied, we both had dreams last night, but there is no one here to tell us what the meaning of these dreams were. Interpreting dreams is God's business, Joseph replied. Tell me what you saw. The cupbearer told his dream first in the dream and said, I saw a vine in front of me, and it had 3 branches that began to bud and blossom, and soon there were clusters of ripe grapes. I was holding Pharaoh's wine cup in my hand, so I took the grapes and squeezed the juice into it. Then I placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. I know what the dream means, Joseph said. And I'm going to stop there and let you continue on. You see, Joseph had walked this journey, and over time he matured to such a place that he was able to then not only interpret his own dreams, but to begin to interpret the dreams of other people. And that gift of interpretation opened the door for him to step in to become ruler. What am I saying to you? You have to go through something. You have to be matured into such a place that your gift is so operational that it's going to be a blessing to many people that you come upon. And that is going to make you ruler over many people. It was Joseph's gift that matured, that made him the ruler over many, because no one else was able to interpret. But see, Joseph was being prepared and fashioned. So while he was in captivity and enslaved and hostage, what set him free was his ability to operate in his gift that God had caused him to operate in. So what we go through is sharpens our gifts and our talents. And then those gifts and those talents, no one else can do what we can do because God predestined. You see, Joseph, he was the only one that can interpret those dreams. So what am I telling you? Be okay with where you are, because you're being prepared. Don't give up on your dreams because they are manifesting. They are manifesting, because in your preparation, it's unfolding and it's putting you into the place where your dream is happening. It's coming to pass. It's happening. It's happening. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. It has been an honor to be here with you today for 30 minutes of empowerment. And I am your host, Latangela Rogers. And I look forward to serving you every Saturday here on Fire Unfiltered, where we are bringing you transformation and restoration, words of empowerment every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check your local listings and just tune in to us. And thank you again for joining us on today. I am happy to have been with you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast of Fire Unfiltered with your host, Latangela Rogers. We pray and trust something. So contact us via email at info@kmen.live. And to support the broadcast, visit us at www.kmen.live. Until the next time, stay blessed and stay on fire.